welcome back to Beauty Bees. I decided it was time to film a sequel, a highly requested, aka literally never requested, sequel to my ranking Colourpop IP collabs video. This was about 2 years ago, and in that time, Colourpop has released approximately 7.6 million collections. However, only 18 of them fit what I thought of as an IP collab, and we're going to be looking through them today. Now, this is a highly definitive ranking, by which I mean I haven't tried practically any of the products I'm going to be talking about today. It's highly subjective. I don't know much of anything, or sometimes anything, about the IPs that are being discussed. So if you've tried things, if you know more about these IPs, if you just also have opinions and you want to share them, I would love to hear it. We can have a nice discussion down in the comments below. But let's get right into things. Starting with number 18, we're going to work worst to best in my very objective view. And this is Naruto. Now, I don't really know anything about Naruto. I've watched one episode and didn't really see the appeal. I feel like this isn't very inspired feeling. That's not to say that this doesn't fit Naruto. I don't know enough about it to say if it does or not. But this primary colors with some neutrals palette is something that Colourpop has done over and over again. We'll probably see like 2 or 3 more of essentially this palette in this video. I don't feel that any of the accompanying items were all that interesting, and I don't think the packaging was that interesting. So this lands right at the bottom. I have a lot of the same things to say about this BT21 collection. Now, BT21 I know even less about than Naruto. I have no idea what's going on with this IP, but the makeup isn't very inspiring. I like the color scheme a little bit more than I did with the Naruto collection. I think this is a little bit more bright, a little more fun. I don't love the larger palette. I think 24 pans is a little bit big, though on the other hand, I really do like my Colourpop 30 pan palettes that I have. This isn't speaking to me at all. I actually put this ranking together 5 or 6 days ago, and I'd forgotten about this collection entirely. It's just very forgettable to me. This next one hurts because I'm a massive Star Wars fan, but this is boring. Let's just call it what it is. This is the C-3PO palette. Now, I'm not sure why R2-D2 is on the inside. I kind of thought when this first came out that maybe they would release an R2-D2 palette that would also have C-3PO on the inside, and they could, you know, be buddy palettes like the Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian palette were. They didn't do that, and I feel like an R2-D2 palette would have been more interesting than this, because how could it not be? It's beige and gold, which is accurate to C-3PO, but it's not very fun. It's not very interesting. Even as a big Star Wars fan, I have never felt any interest in picking this up. And I have devoted thousands of hours of my life to Star Wars, and I still can't get interested in this. I really wanted to like this next collab. I really, really wanted to. Not because I think the IP is super interesting. I mean, I like princesses as much as the next person, but because it didn't have a palette. I was excited for it for that reason alone. This being the Disney Princess True Love's Kiss collection, which was 12 lipsticks. However, I don't think the lipstick colors are very interesting. I feel like Colourpop as a whole doesn't really do a lot of interesting lip colors anymore. And I heard that the formula was not great. Also, the packaging just looks so cheap. I understand that these are relatively inexpensive lipsticks. I mean, in the world of lipstick, you could absolutely spend 6-7 times whatever these cost. However, I think these are like $8 or $9 a piece. That's not exactly a super inexpensive lipstick either. And the design on these, I have things with this foil design from Colourpop. They wear off so incredibly quickly. You are going to be left with these plain peach tubes, millennial pink tubes. I don't know. Let me know what color you think these are. So rapidly, and it just, you're gonna lose the theming. You're gonna have a not that interesting, apparently not fabulous lipstick. What a letdown, right? I was rooting for you, but it just couldn't quite come through. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. So the next one is Colourpop's inability to read the room, and they decided to collaborate with Harry Potter. Now, we're not going to get into the J.K. Rowling stuff too much. I don't support her viewpoints on trans rights and trans individuals. I still do like Harry Potter, though. I've liked Harry Potter since I was a kid. It feels a little tainted now, but I still like it. However, I wouldn't want to throw my money at something like this. And thankfully, I wasn't really tempted to. So that worked out nicely. Everything is just okay. Like, the palette is a pretty color scheme. I do think they actually did a decent job with the colors that they chose. However, the packaging is kind of lame. Don't know why they went with these like cartoonish takes on the characters. And why is Luna the other character that they chose to feature along with like the main three? I like Luna. She's my favorite character of the bunch probably, but I don't think it really makes sense to include her like this. I think the lip balms look incredibly cheap. These look like round 2 of those princess lipsticks that we saw in, was that the last? Yeah, the last collection. The only thing that I think I would enjoy out of this collection, if you could take out the Harry Potter element, would be that really light Super Shock highlighter. But they've come out with other versions of that too. There's nothing special here. Come on, Colourpop, if you're gonna ask people to give you money to go against their values, you gotta give them something worthwhile. And you made it really easy to skip this collection. Thank you for that. Next we have Avatar, and I feel like this looks like the Naruto palette. I know more about Avatar. I've watched Avatar, and I liked it, and I think this palette looks nice. I think this collection has prettier packaging than the Naruto stuff did, which is why this is ranked higher. But again, it's sort of the same old thing again, and I want to say that I put Legend of Korra next, and I feel like that's pretty similar too. Yeah, I did. I put Legend of Korra right above Avatar: The Last Airbender solely because I think it was pretty cool that they brought out these multi-chrome eyeshadows with this collection. I mean, if you're gonna give us essentially the same palette over and over again, at least change up the side dishes a little bit. Like, distract from the fact that you've just rearranged the shades within the eyeshadow palette, and this is fun. I am still very interested in these multi-chrome eyeshadows. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't bring these out with the Harry Potter collab. Maybe they knew that they weren't going to get the buy-in with the Harry Potter collab that they hoped that they would, but this red, yellow, green, and blue seems like something, I mean, yeah, it fits Legend of Korra, I get that, but it seems like it also would have fit just as well with Harry Potter. So, not sure why they made those choices, but I think this was a pretty good collab. And actually, we're getting to the point where I like all of the collabs from here on. I think they were relatively well done, and I would be interested in trying an element or two from any of the collabs we're going to look at from here to the rest of the video. It is wild to me that Colourpop has now done 3 separate Hocus Pocus collections. Like, I get that their first one was a massive, massive hit for them. I don't think number 2 was, but I could be wrong on that. Number 3, I think, was actually pretty well done. I like that they revisited that 15-pan palette from the first collab and sort of revamped it. Added some really extra bright colors, but kept the cartoonish vibe from the second Hocus Pocus collab. It was an interesting mix of those 2 collabs. The palette looks pretty. I really do like the other pieces that they came out with. That highlight, I've always thought looks rather pretty. Are these lip products? Yes, the lip glosses look interesting. I like that they went for some more fun, interesting colors, because they've got like a light yellowy green, an orange, and a purple. That's fun. Similar colors with these Jelly Much shadows. Just overall, they understood the vibe that they were going for, and they went for it. This isn't yet another neutral with some primary colors palette. They went a little outside their usual comfort zone, and I think it works for Halloween. It works for Hocus Pocus. I like it. Good job. And now we're back to Star Wars. This is, I think, just their Star Wars collection. I don't think there's another name for it. It is based off of that Ralph McQuarrie art for the first film, and it's a primary with gray instead of neutral this time around, but it's not exactly unexplored territory for Colourpop. You know, they've done very similar things before. I'm sure they'll do very similar things again, but I think this is a much better, more interesting version of Star Wars than their C-3PO palette was. That was a snooze fest. This is at least moderately interesting. I think the red and purple lip glosses make a lot of sense for Star Wars. The palette, I've got to acknowledge, does suit the artwork that they've paired it with pretty well. And I like Star Wars. I mean, this is my subjective ranking. I like Star Wars. I get to put this right in the middle of this video if I want to. So I did. Does it hurt me in my soul a little bit that I ended up putting High School Musical above Star Wars? Yes, but I did it anyway because I think this is actually a better done collaboration. I think that the East High theme was done nicely. The packaging is cute. I like that they sort of went with a back to school theme. I like that the palette doesn't open vertically like most of their palettes do. This one is arranged horizontally to look more like a notebook. That's cute. I can get into that. I think that the colors do feel very Disney Channel, but they're appropriate. They're not the type of shadow that mom and dad would stop you if you tried to go to school wearing in the morning. And I feel like there would be a lot of really nice one shadow looks, which I feel also really suits the like preteen feeling of a High School Musical. It just feels right. I like this. This is cute. I think they did a good job. Again, It's not anything super unusual for Colourpop, but I think this was a well done version. This next one, I like the makeup, but I hate the packaging on this. I think this is so ugly. So this is Winx. I know nothing about Winx. I think I'm too old for this, I'm guessing. It seems like something that could have maybe been on TV when I was in high school. I think the glosses look really pretty. Very sheer with all these different colors. Kind of feels like a Lip Smackers collection in the best way. The packaging, like I said, really ugly, but the individual products all look so interesting. I love that they have their light sticks, which I don't think they've been coming out with too many things in that formula recently, but I've always thought that was an interesting formula. I've tried it once. I thought it was nice. They have some pretty colors. This palette is so cute with these like brighter pastels. The makeup is just so pretty. Like, I would use almost every shade in this palette, I think. These are my types of colors. I love these more pastel shades. I find that they work really well with my coloring, and I don't even know what Winx is, but I like this a lot. And if you could take the Winx out of this, if this was a pretty exterior palette, I think I might have actually purchased it. But the packaging is just childish. With High School Musical, it was childlike. This is childish, and I don't like it. I think it's garish. But the makeup is very pretty. I think it's very cute. Now on to number, what is this, number 7? Yeah, not quite into the top 5 yet, but we're getting there very soon. This is Sailor Moon Volume 2, or The Sailors. Again, this is a collab that I know very little about the IP, but I think that the packaging is quite pretty on this. It's a little bit more understated than the Winx was, and I like the shade selection. I think this sort of blue, pink, purple palette is very pretty. I like that the blushes and lip products and eye products that came out with the palette are also in a similar color family. I think that this goes really well with the original Sailor Moon collection. At first, when I was looking up this, I thought it was the same collection because I didn't purchase the Sailor Moon stuff. I don't know anything about Sailor Moon, but I pulled up the other one, and it is much warmer and more pink, whereas this is cooler and more purple. I think they jive really well together. I think this was a really nice, well thought out way to put together a sequel palette, or a sequel collection actually, and it's pretty. This is another set of makeup that I think I would actually use. I just don't care that much about the IP collab, and this is my subjective ranking, like we've said many times already. They did a good job here. I've got to say, they did a good job with this one. I am waiting for them to do some more of these like individual Disney Princess collabs. I thought this one worked out really well, and I think it sold fairly well. Maybe not the eyeshadow palette itself, because let's admit it, the eyeshadow palette looks just like the Naruto palette, and just like the Avatar palette, and the Legend of Korra one. Maybe the Legend of Korra one was a little bit different, but this like red, yellow, blue, neutral browns, it's a little old. It's pretty tired. I've got to admit, it does fit Snow White and her color scheme very well, but it's not that inspired. Let's just get that out of the way. The other surrounding elements, though, are so cute for this collection. This is, I think, the first collection that we've talked about today where I actually own an item. I have the medium blush, the Super Shock blush in this collection. I think it's so cute. The packaging is adorable. The actual product itself I find to be very wearable. I considered wearing it today, but it is a blush that has a lot of flexibility because it is so bright. You could wear it full on and just have like extremely rouged cheeks, or I will just tap my brush into it and get a really pretty like glowy flush that's almost natural looking. It's an awesome product with really cute packaging, so huge win all around. I would kill for these little chipmunks that they have on a lot of the packaging. I think they are just too stinking cute, and I love that they came out with a magic mirror along with the collection. I think that was a really cute little marketing move. So I might be the only one who really liked this collab, but I thought that their Muppets collab for Christmas was so cute. I love that animal is hanging out in the wreath. I think that the colors that they chose fit the Muppets really well. It's not exactly a super Christmassy collection, I feel, but we get so much of that same old like primary, maybe even slightly blue toned red with deep greens and gold around the holidays that we didn't need another version of it. This is very Muppets. It's very fun, and I like how you can sort of pick out which individual shades correspond to the characters. I used to really like those glowing lips, so I'm always happy to see those in the collection, even though unfortunately I can't use them anymore because they have beeswax in them. They should get rid of the synthetic beeswax and then I would be all over those glowing lips. The Super Shocks look cute. It's a relatively concise collection. It doesn't have 400 items. It has 10 items, which is still a lot. We're not going to argue that 4 Super Shocks, 4 lip products, a 16 pan palette, and Glitterly Obsessed, I'm guessing, is a small collection. But it's relatively concise for Colourpop, and I think it's really well done. I think this is cute. I think it's fun. I really like the Muppets. Always have. Muppets Treasure Island is one of my favorite films to have on in the background while I'm just doing things around the house. I think it's adorable. Always have to, like stop and watch the Cabin Fever song and pretty much any moment that has Tim Curry in it. But I think they did a really good job. I think in general, Colourpop tends to do a pretty good job with their Disney collabs. And this next one is no exception. This is the Haunted Mansion collab that came out for Halloween this year. It's so cute. I love that it's got this blue and purple, really like dusky feel going on, but it has some lighter shades so that it would be a palette that I could actually use for complete looks. I know not everybody needs those light shades to finish off and complete a look, but for me, that's what I feel most comfortable doing. I think the theming is there. I think the color selection is there. They did a good job with this theme, and I still kind of want this palette. I think they did a really nice job. I know that there's nothing here except for maybe the one I don't know, like that green shade in the lower center of the palette. I think that's the only shade that I might not already have like 3 times over in my stash. But they did a good job with this. Even though I know that I have this, I still kind of want it. And I think that's a mark of a really good collection, that you don't need it, but it's so well done that you still feel like it would be fun to have. And some of these Super Shocks look really pretty too. So, good job, Colourpop. I like this one. Okay, these next 3, as I was making this list, They were all number one at different points in time. So I think all three of these are amazing little collections. But one of them had to be number three, so I decided to make it Alice in Wonderland. I really love the palette in this collection. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Have had it in my cart on Colourpop's site many a time, but never uh, never pulled the trigger on it. It is a very pretty spring palette. These are my types of colors. These are the shades that I like to wear. I think I would get really excellent use out of a palette like this. And the surrounding items are what kind of put it down a level for me. I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other about any of these surrounding items. I don't think they're particularly interesting. I don't think they suit the theme all that well, but they're cute, and the palette looks amazing to me. I think this is one of the prettier palettes that Colourpop has ever put out. So that's why this is ranking so high, but also why it ended up at number 3 instead of number 1. Okay, I was not excited when I saw that Colourpop was going to do a Twilight collab, but I was interested. I was interested to see where they took it. I did not expect to like this as much as I do. I think they knocked it out of the park with this one. I kind of joked to myself when I saw that they were coming out with a collab, like, I thought that they should come out with like 3 different shades of nearly white foundation that had glitter in them. I thought that would have been hilarious. But they did actually do, the skin of a killer, and they did it in probably a more reasonable but less funny way than I thought, with the soul body, like glitter. What are they called? Body oils. I was struggling there. I think that was a good approach to take. The palette, I think, suits the color scheme of that first Twilight movie really well. Forks, Washington is that really gray, overcast feeling town, and this suits it. I think it's pretty. It's, again, a color scheme that I think I would actually get a lot of use out of. The lip products fit the theme and what people want right now. I mean, looking at the pictures online, it seems like these are giving the same kind of effects as those, what are those nasty named MAC lip glosses? The squirt balms. Aren't those gross? Yeah, but they do give some cool effects. I think that these like sheer glossy lip products would be really fun to play around with. I might actually purchase 1 or 2 of them when they become more readily available. I'm not interested in setting an alarm to check the Colourpop site at 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. That is so not my gig. But when these are, at Ulta, and I can just decide whenever I want them that I can have one, I might end up picking 1 or 2 up. The Super Shock highlighters look very pretty. I really do like these nearly white Super Shocks. I think this is an amazing looking collection. I think Colourpop did a really good job with this, and I don't even like Twilight. I tried to read Twilight when I was the perfect age for it, because Twilight was at its peak when I was like 13, 14. So I was totally the target audience for Twilight, but I couldn't get into it. I tried reading that first book, wasn't into it. Did enjoy the first 2 movies, but not enough that I went and even saw the 3rd or 4th, 5th? I don't know how many movies they came out with. Probably too many. Anyway, good job, Colourpop. I think this was actually a really awesome collab. And then last of all, this is absolutely my own personal bias creeping in, but it's Small World. I think this palette is so, so cute. Again, we've talked again and again about these color schemes that I like, and this is the type of color scheme. I love these lighter, sort of pastel colors. I find them so wearable, so pretty. I love It's a Small World. It's annoying. I understand that most people find it very annoying. I think it's adorable. I love the Mary Blair artwork. I have just one element from this collection. I have one of the Super Shocks, the like lighter of the two, and I love it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I wear it quite a bit. I've actually made a good dent in it. I think the blushes look really pretty. I've considered on multiple different occasions buying the lightest or the lighter two of the three blushes. I think the palette looks really pretty. I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't pulled the trigger on the palette, but I haven't. And the lip products look really good too. Like, everything in this palette I feel is a hit. All of it feels like it was catered to me, and that's why it is my Iris's number one of all of these Colourpop collabs. I think they did an absolutely amazing job here. Now, here comes the fun part. What's your opinion? What would you put as number one? And did I miss anything? I don't think I did. I was pretty careful as I was going through Trend Mood and Colourpop's Instagram to get everything. But if I did, please let me know, and I'll add that down in the comments. So, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your ranking would be, or, just your top couple if that feels a little bit more approachable. I know that ranking 18 items took me more time than it probably should have. Thank you again, and I hope you all have wonderful, wonderful weeks. Bye, guys.